Hello and welcome to 1001up.com, and you are watching us again from the living room. Now, if you haven't seen one of the videos from the living room before, you might be wondering, why are they talking here with a sofa and a dog? Well, the answer is quite simple. You play the majority of your games in the living room. We play the majority of our games sat in the living room. Where else to talk about games? The living room. Makes sense, doesn't it? Now, what are we going to talk about today? Today we are going to talk about 5 games that we want to see remastered. It is all the rage at the moment. Everyone is doing it left, right and centre. They're picking up games and saying, oh, you know what, I can put a bit of spit and polish there, tart up the graphics, 21st century, going to sell by the millions. Well, we think there are 5 games that are ripe for that treatment, and here they are. And straight in with number 1, which is Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis. It was a game from the golden age of LucasArts point and clicks. It had Indiana Jones, it was fully voice acted, it came on a CD-ROM. But what made it really, really great was it was one of the early games with multiple endings. Yeah, depending on your playstyle, you could either choose to be a brawler, you could either choose to talk your way out of situations, or alternatively, you could solve all the puzzles. It was a fantastic adventure. It really, really captured Indiana Jones at the time. And of course, now with all the various Grim Fandango have been done, Monkey Island, for me and for the rest of the team, it feels like the right time to bring Indiana Jones kicking and screaming all the way into the 21st century. It wouldn't need much like the Monkey Island ones did. All you would have to do, polish up the graphics a bit, you can keep the voice acting, and then maybe just instead of the old MIDI and Indiana Jones theme, you could have a full-on orchestral soundtrack. Apart from that, dead easy. Off you go, job done. It could appear on anything from PlayStation to PC to touchscreens. Fantastic. So there you have it. That was number 1, Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis. And on to number 2. Number 2 is Skies of Arcadia. Now, Skies of Arcadia was originally a Dreamcast game. It had a slight notional upgrade in the past, moving from Dreamcast to the GameCube, which is a fantastic console, by the way. If you get a chance to play one, do. And now Skies of Arcadia was a Japanese role-playing game, a JRPG. And these, you know exactly, if you like that style, you know exactly what to expect with this. But you are talking about space pirates. Yes, the whole thing is set in space. You go planet to planet. There are space galleons, great big ships that you go flying around the place. There's a little mini game where the ships can battle with each other. The adventure is fantastic. The story was great, and I think it's one of those that again wouldn't need too much to move. You could talk about graphical uptick. Again, you could maybe think about how you structure the save points. But again, it's voice acted, it's standard Japanese RPG stuff. All you need to do is really drag it from where it was, sharpen up the textures and the graphics, bring it all the way up to 1080p, and you're away. Job done. So there you go. That was number 2, Skies of Arcadia. Okay, on to number 3. Number 3 being cannon fodder. Cannon fodder, yes, you might have guessed it from the name, it means just that. Lots of cannons, lots of fodder, lots of soldiers, lots of blood everywhere. But you will probably not have heard of it before unless you are of a certain vintage. Now that vintage means 30 years old plus, much like me and the rest of the team are. That's the sad truth of it. Yes, we've been playing games that long, but it means we've got to see them all, including some of the greats, including Cannon Fodder. Cannon Fodder was made by a firm called Sensible Software. Now, Sensible Software, most famous for Sensible Soccer, another fantastic game, but they also did Cannon Fodder. And Cannon Fodder gave you a squad of four members, 4 soldiers, and you had to take out the enemy base. It was effectively real-time strategy type game. Now, the soldiers would level up, they would rank up, so on and so forth, and you became quite attached to them. But much like in XCOM, once they died, that was it. Game over. This again, it could be brought into the 21st century with some graphical bit of spit and polish, do up the sounds, but again the core game it works really well, and actually it would suit a touchscreen most of all. You'd have it on your iPad, you can just tell your soldiers to go here, shoot this guy. But again, it was originally on the Amiga, for those of you who remember those consoles. The Amiga, so again, mouse, keyboard, joystick, joypad, it's all possible. So yes, if you're out there, Cannon Fodder. We really like Cannon Fodder, and that was number 3. Okay, the question is, what is number 4? And that is Ready to Rumble Boxing. Ready to Rumble Boxing was another Dreamcast game that kind of blended semi-serious boxing where you had to train up your character and take him through the ranks and everything, with a large dose of over-the-top comedy and ridiculousness. And you know what? They combined really, really, really well. You had fighters such as Afro Thunder, really agile guy, massive hair, it was fantastic, great big hulking blokes. There was even an English gent who, of course, a bit of the old Queensberry rules, that's all you need. It was comedy, it was brilliant, it was really quick, it was really responsive, the mechanics were great. It's the sort of game you can sit around with your mates and just duke it out on screen, and of course now in the modern world you could throw in the online stuff and then people could play over the internet. You could arguably even do some kind of tag team stuff, because even though it's boxing, it's that kind of world that a tag team match might suit it. Wouldn't need much to do to bring it in all the way up. You would again just tweak the graphics really. The sound was great. The sound was especially great in fact because it had Michael Buffer. Now I'm not going to try and do an impression, but if you've heard the phrase that "let's get ready to rumble" in front of any boxing fight, let's get ready to rumble, you will know the voice, you will know the man, and he starred in the game. He was the announcer. He summoned everyone into the ring when they're doing all the entrance music and all that, and then of course he did his famous "let's get ready to rumble" before every fight, which, yes, it probably could get a bit annoying, but by the same token, it gave some kind of validity and entertainment to the game, which was fantastic. So there you go. I think that is absolutely right. Besides, there aren't that many boxing games out at the moment. Yes, you've got the seriousness of the EA Fight Night series, but apart from that, there really isn't too many others. So yes, Ready to Rumble Boxing is definitely, it is time for you to make a comeback, bring yourself back into the ring, and let's see you duke it out with some of the others out there. Okay, now that was number 4. And what is number 5? Number 5 is Micro Machines. Micro Machines by Codemasters, originally on the Sega Mega Drive or the Sega Genesis if you happen to live in America. Now, Codemasters are still making racing games today and they're doing very, very well at them too. But there was a time when Codemasters ruled the world, and that was when the SNES and the Mega Drive were fighting each other for supremacy. And they released a game called Micro Machines. Now, Micro Machines was a little bit different because it had 2 control ports built into the cartridge. So not only did you have the 2 in the Mega Drive itself, but you had another 2 in the cartridge, put it in, 4 players, top-down tabletop racing action. It was great. So not only do you have 4 players, it tied into the Micro Machines that was the big brand at the time. Little toy cars and vehicles that you could then, of course, not only collect physically, but race in the game. They didn't talk to each other, but that didn't really matter. You had the game, top-down, 4 people, various household items you were racing around. It was good. It was really, really good. And of course, people would fall off the edge of tables. It's 4 of you sitting around. Things could get a bit heated, but that was part of the fun. That was a part of the fun. Now imagine that being brought all the way to the 21st century, where you can suddenly connect online, 32 other players, absolute chaos. It would be brilliant. All online, all talking each other, maybe a bit of trash talk, not particularly to my style, but it works for some people. Just duking it out on tabletops, maybe throwing a few weapons as well, who knows, but definitely Micro Machines, just for the sheer fun factor, I think deserves another chance with the current crop of consoles, PCs and touchpads, to be brought all the way into the 21st century and given a good remaster. So there you go, that was number 5. So there you have it. That is five games that we think should be remastered, along with all the others that are going on at the moment. I hope you've enjoyed it. We've enjoyed making it, certainly. So if you like us, we're 1001up.com. You can check us out on Twitter. We are at 1001up, Facebook 1001up, and of course, don't forget, every Thursday night, 8 PM, you can see us on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/1001up, where myself and Phil, my partner in crime, indulge in the bromance every week, where we do lots of fun co-op action. So yes, there you go. Once again, 5 games that we think we should be remastered. We're 1001up.com. Thank you very much for joining us. And released on the PC, PS4, Xbox, and I've got it again. This is really wrong because I thought that started quite well. I'm looking at myself. It's gone off on a tangent. Brain went, nah. Video went, bah. Hand too high, look. Now number 3, once again, I'm looking at myself. You know, I'm not that pretty. And number 3, I think it better be 3 because I fucked it up again. I can't even finish that sentence. I'm not going to tell you what I had for lunch, but it was delicious. This is good too.
Bugger.
So the question is, what has... No one knows the question, I didn't even make it through it. And the Mega Drive, I can't believe my body just did that. I'm looking at myself, God, I can't get this right. Why is this so difficult? It's the last one. So,